Welcome ladies and gentlemen to the second installment of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Best Deck series. Today we're going to be looking at the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon combo. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is by far the most requested card that I build a deck around, so I hope you guys enjoy. First of all, we'll look at which character I recommend you use for the deck. I recommend Bandit Keys with the ability Switcheroo. This ability allows you to return one card in your hand to your deck and draw another, twice a duel. This ability is very useful for the deck as it allows you to replace cards in your hand with potentially combo pieces. If you don't have Bandit Keys, other characters I could say that are useful for the deck are any of the characters that allow you to start with more than 4,000 life points. Later on in the guide I'll explain why that's useful. Now we'll take a look at the deck list. Again, I'm sorry for my pronunciation of these cards, I'm never very good at pronouncing things. Alright, so this deck runs 3 cyber-stein, 3 hearthstone, 3 Skelengel, 2 sphere Karibo, 1 gift to the mystical elf, 3 twin swords of flashing light, 3 enchanted javelins, 1 jar of greed, 1 shard of greed, and as many Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons as you can unpack. Just like my last guide, the easiest way for me to describe how this deck works is to break it down into 3 categories: combo pieces, life point total / gain cards, and cycle. First, we'll take a look at the combo for this deck. The combo is Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, cyber-stein, and twin swords of flashing light. The entire aim of this deck is to use cyber-stein's ability to summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon without having to pay any of its fusion costs or any tribute costs. This requires you to have more than 5,000 life points, as cyber-stein's ability is pay 5,000 life points, special summon 1 fusion monster from your fusion deck into attack position. Later on in the guide we'll explain how to get above that 5,000 life total. Twin Swords of Flashing Light isn't actually required for the deck, but I do recommend running it, as it allows your Blue Eyes to attack twice at the cost of 500 of its attack. So it can end duels very quickly, as even after the 500 attack loss, your Blue Eyes will still have 4,000 attack to use twice. The second category we'll be looking at is life point total / gain cards. The cards I recommend you run to maintain your life points / gain life points is Enchanted Javelin, hearthstone, Sphere Karibo, and 1 gift to the mystical elf. Enchanted Javelin is by far the most consistent and the strongest life point heal in the game, in my opinion. In PvP, it nearly always will give you a life point gain of above 1,500, which is exactly what you need for this deck, as a gain of 1,500 will instantly boost you above that 5,000 threshold you need to survive using cyber-stein's ability. Hearthstone is a very good card for protecting your life point total, as it essentially allows you to block 2 cards. Once you've played it face down, it can block 1 attack from a monster, and then once it's flipped, it can return a second monster to its hand, effectively blocking 2 attacks and maintaining your life total very well. Sphere Karibo is a card that once you've got in your hand, you're never going to play it on the board. Simply, it's used for discarding it from your hand when your opponent declares an attack, to change the attacking monster's position to defense mode, therefore negating its attack, which keeps your life total high. Gift to the Mystical Elves is a lot less important than the other 2 cards. It's a one-off that I'd run in this deck for pretty much if all else fails. It can be the difference between having just under 5,000 life points and just over 5,000 life points. Its heal is nowhere near as consistent nor as effective as Enchanted Javelin, that's why it's only really a last hope kind of card. Just like my last guide, the third and final component of this deck is cycle. Cycling is basically drawing through your deck until you can get your combo pieces, just filling your deck with a ton of card draw to fill any spot that isn't
where a combo piece should be, making it a lot easier to get to pieces quickly. The cycle cards I recommend you run for this deck are Skeleton Gel, Jar of Greed, and Shard of Greed. Skeleton Gel is very important in this deck. It provides a card draw and a block for your life points, which is pretty much all this deck needs, making it very, very effective in this deck. Jar of Greed is pretty much the prime example of a cycle card. It's just put in your deck as a way to thin it out to remove as many non-combo pieces from the deck as possible, because pretty much as soon as you draw it, you play it, and it replaces itself with a new card, getting you even closer to those final pieces you need to pull off your win condition. Unlike the last guide, I recommend you run Shard of Greed in this deck. Shard of Greed is a lot slower cycle, but it's pretty much a 1 for 2 trade. You play this card, and after 2 turns, it draws 2 cards.
The reason I believe you're able to run this card in this deck as opposed to the last deck I did a guide on is this deck is a lot slower. You can afford to take that extra turn to gain that extra value from drawing 2 cards instead of just 1, as normally you need those turns to gain life points anyway. Well, that's pretty much it for my guide. Normally at this point I'd have gameplay of the combo working itself, but after 114 packs I was still unable to open a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So as soon as I do unpack one, I'll upload gameplay of just me using the combo. But until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next guide.